Welcome to the High Tea Podcast. We're your hosts, Mel, Kellen, Kay, where we sip and speak on what many are thinking but are too shy and not bold enough to say. So buckle up, grab a glass, and pick these up. Now enough stalling. Let's get into the show.
Ladies, hi boo. How are you? I miss you guys. I just want the world to know that I miss my ladies.
Yes, a lot of physical missings.
Yes, like missings. I'm gonna have some very uncomfortable to see hugs with these ladies when I see them.
A lot of gyrating.
Yeah, a lot of gyrating, a lot of just in general. If you want me to say it plainly, I'm gonna hump. I'm just gonna hug, touch everywhere, booties, all of it. Like, it's gonna be embarrassing for some people, but I don't care because no one's gonna tell me how I love my ladies. Okay, so
it's been a long time.
I know,
too long.
We're gonna talk. We're gonna figure this out. Anyways, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us on another lovely week on this lovely podcast with these lovely ladies, because everything is lovely. At least I'm gonna keep saying that until it just happens. Sorry. It's just been adulting at its finest this week. But this week, we are going to talk about things that have triggered us, examples of some triggers that we've seen just in general. Of course, we're going to have our social media moment. Sorry. The stereotypes in the Black and Brown community is our second topic for this week, which I'm personally excited for that because I want to hear y'all feedback after this airs and begin that conversation, because it's definitely a conversation to be had. And of course, we'll wrap up this week with our weekly recommendations. So ladies, I actually did not do questions this week because I figured that we'll have enough to talk about in general.
As per usual.
Yes. I feel like these are topics that we can just go right into and just popcorn and get it all off our chest. Because woosah. Hella triggered. So, as we all know, the Black community has a lot of traumas and triggers and toxic things that we deal with. So triggers can really come from out of left field sometimes. They are really not, there's no warning most of the time. Maybe every once in a while you get the little pop-up screen, but that's it. No, most of the time it's not, and it just slaps you upside the head and you're like, why did that have to happen? So ladies, what are some of the triggers that you definitely have noticed over the years that have just gotten either worse or just always been bad?
I'll say for me, I am very connected when it comes to smell combinations and the association with it. So I'll give you two examples.
So you have sensorial triggers.
Yes. Oh, yes. And it takes me back to a different place. I can remember the whole situation that went on. And for like a good trigger would be just the smell of my parents. Like the smell that my dad has with his cologne and the smell that my mom has always had with her perfume. Like from when I was a little kid, I always felt comfort in the way my parents smelled. And I feel like a lot of people can have that.
Yeah.
And it just brings good memories and like a comforting feeling. But when it comes to a bad smell trigger, the combination recently that I just experienced the other day was the smell of weed mixed with Bath and Body Works mahogany teak wood.
Ew.
Candles. No, hold on. There's a whole story to it.
Who is this person?
Then Versace cologne.
What?
Oh my gosh.
What is happening?
The thing is, it's a combination that in the past it was a good smell, not a good smell, but it was like a smell that brought back a certain memory, but now it brings back a toxic memory. And
got it.
Yes. And when I smell it, it literally makes me panic. Like in my apartment, there are some young people that live downstairs and they'll be doing their little weed smoking or whatever the case is. And I just feel awful. Like I cannot be around that for some reason. Well, I do know the reason, but I just can't be around it because it instantly brings back a memory that disgusts me. So I have to remove myself from the room. And so Unfortunately, I can't go past a Bath and Body Works anymore.
First of all, I can't. Anything Bath and Body Works is unfortunately I've gotten too old for.
I'm not gonna lie. The only thing I like from them is their wallflower plugs, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
They got a good sale going on.
Yeah, they got too much going on. Too many scents. They're overwhelming. We are getting old. No, no.
Yeah.
I have accepted this as I've aged. Well, I like that you brought up a good and a bad. We all think of triggers as like bad because it does sound bad. It doesn't sound great. Triggers is not a word that sounds fun.
Especially the way we've been using it within the last like 5 years. A trigger is like not a good term.
Off limits.
Well, especially in the last 5 years, like violence has become so regular that when you are exposed to non-violence for a short period, you're like, wait, hold up, what is happening?
Yeah,
y'all are wilding in these streets. So you completely forget about the good triggers because you're so consumed with all of the bad triggers. Thank you for doing that, Miss Kelly. You just made me remember one of my good triggers. What about you, Miss Kishana?
Well, one of my bad triggers, I should say. I don't like people who can't clean up after themselves. That's like one thing that irritates the life out of me, especially as growing up in a household where my mom would like literally like want to throw hands if you don't clean up after yourself.
I aspire to be that.
And I think that's something that like that I got from my mom, if anything, that just stuck with me. And now as an adult, I can't imagine like not being like that.
Yeah.
Like there's times where I literally just want to like put hands on like my coworkers that I'm just like, what are you people doing? Like, I will choke you. Like, get that shit off my desk now. And my desk is a very neat place. So when I come to work and there's something on my desk, I put it on someone else's desk.
If I come to work and someone's been on my desk in my office, I have questions.
Right. Like, I don't mind. Like, see me, I don't keep anything like personal or anything like super important on the surface of my desk. Like, I have my storage within my desk that's locked that I put stuff away in, that important things, which is fine. I don't mind if someone comes sit down at my desk and like take a seat there, but I understand that our little office space is separate from my residence, so it's our little corner. But at the same time, respect my desk. If you're gonna come eat something at my desk, clean up. If you're gonna drink coffee at my desk or something because you needed to like right there for a minute, clean it up. It's still my desk. Respect it. Respect my space because that's not the way you met it. I am not that person. If I go sit at someone else's desk to do something real quick, I am not leaving my mess there. I will clean it up and make it look the same way before I sat there.
See, the way I've always had, when I've had it my own desk, it was my own desk. Like, there was no one else should be sitting there. It shouldn't be using it. They can come grab a Post-it or some shit, but there's no reason for you to touch anything on my desk. Because this is not a shared space. So I take all of my stuff as personal, like especially if it's like a favorite of mine, because you know how I am about my pens.
Yeah,
I can't play that. Like I could only write with certain pens because my handwriting's jacked, and that's the best way you can read it with good pens.
Oh yeah, all my pens stay in my bag. I don't leave pens at work.
Well, especially now I have an office. I lock my door. I refuse. I was like, I need a key, and they were like, "Oh, we'll find you a key," and I was like, "No, I need a key." Because if I feel like someone's been in my office, I'm going to search all my shit. And then we're going to have problems. So I need a key. Because no.
I just like the respect of my space. That's it. I don't mind sharing it. Yes. I don't mind a shared space, but respect it. If you found it a certain way, leave it the way you found it. That's just how I am, because then I take it as a disrespect. Like you don't give a shit about me, my feelings, and the way I feel about my space. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
And if you don't give a shit about me and my space, I'm not gonna give a shit about you and your space.
Hello.
There you go.
One thing that hasn't really necessarily been like an extreme trigger, but it's definitely a trigger, is as I'm getting older, I'm starting to, for some reason, like actually like resonate with things. So like I'm getting more like squeamish at like stupid shit like bugs, even though I have zero problem with bugs. I just don't like them. I just think about like all of their little tiny gross little bodies just moving around, and it just freaks me out. But if I have to kill it, I'm gonna kill it because I'm not gonna let it live in my house. It has to die. I'm so sorry to any of the bug lovers out there, but keep it. Seeing people's like bones like break, and I could see it and hear it on the TV. Like watching someone eat something disgusting makes me literally gag. It's just a shit like that is like I've completely come a full 180 from me even 7 years ago. Like I'm like, yo, I am out here freaking out at the most stupid shit all of a sudden, and I'm just like, I am not a punk. What is happening? I don't understand why these things are freaking me out all of a sudden.
I think that's normal. Because you just made me start itching when you mentioned the bugs, and that's just not right.
I'm sorry. Listen, I dated this guy and he had a kid, and I watched the kid do some disgusting stuff with his food, put it in his mouth, and take it out and give it to his dad to eat. And this fucker ate it.
Like baby birding.
No, it's worse. It's like the kid was playing potions with his fucking food, and then instead of the dad him being like, "Hey, dad, try this potion," the dad should have been like, "Nah, dog, you keep it." Instead, this one goes like, "Yeah, let's play potions. I'm gonna eat this nasty shit you just been putting together over there on your nasty little plate full of germs." And this stupid fucker ate it, or just I forgot what he did, but it was disgusting. I almost threw up.
Ew. Okay. Ugh. Like fear factor in real life.
Legit. I was like, I'm sorry. That's when I knew his son was spoiled, because I was like, ooh, nope, hell no. I would fuck that kid up. I'd be like, I love you, but that's a hard no.
I'm sorry, I would have popped that kid off. Get that bug out.
Like, you got me fucked up, kid. No, you cannot get. I'm sorry. That's too far. As a parent, I'm not doing that. I'm not aiding and abetting your stupidity. That's a hell no.
No. Yeah, no. Some people are just weird.
No. Got me fucked up. I'm so sorry.
Nah.
I'm a little gaggy now. Okay, sorry. Good trigger, now that you made me think about it, is for me, I remember I still love and this is super gonna be gross to certain people, but I don't give a fuck. You can judge me if you want. I used to love to eat the cake batter in the box mix when I was a kid.
Oh no, really?
See, there you go, judgmental.
Like the powdered form.
Yes, the box cake, Kelly.
I've never heard that before.
What?
Really?
First of all,
where you just make the batter and then you just like lick the spoon after?
No.
Okay, Kelly, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say one statement, and I'm gonna just leave this here. You ain't had no real friends before us.
That's true. No.
Yeah, me and Melissa used to do that. We used to make banana nut bread and eat the batter. So,
like, so I know you shouldn't because there's eggs in it, but I don't give a fuck. I will eat that shit.
So let me get this straight. You're saying that y'all made batter just to eat it?
No.
Oh, it's
you would make it to make the item,
right? Okay, good. And then whatever is left over in the bowl, like you're scraping, just like lick your spoon.
Okay, I approve that.
Confetti or vanilla were my jam, and those were always the best memories because my mom would always make me either funfetti or vanilla cake for my birthday.
Yes,
and I get to eat the batter.
Yes,
even though she hated it. She's like, "You're gonna get sick from that. You're gonna get a stomach ache." I was like, "Whatever. I don't need to hear your shenanigans right now. I don't care."
Well, that's good to hear.
I'm glad we see. This is how you know we really friends. We telling you our whole business.
Oh yeah,
of all the raw batter that we've eaten in our lives. Because this is also why we're the thick girls. Because I'm not scared to eat. You're not.
Y'all are
No
spatula lickers.
taste testers.
Oh, yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
Connoisseur of the good foods. Okay. What else y'all ladies got? What other triggers have that you are willing to talk about, obviously?
Well, since we're talking about kitchen cooking type stuff, one trigger that I had to actually think about, and I didn't really realize that it is a trigger now, but it's yelling and kitchen commotion, which sounds so weird because seeing that
No.
I pretty much was in the kitchen for so long. But after my experience at that bakery and the abuse that happened, I can't do those two things. So just the sound of yelling and then plates clanging, dishes moving, silverware falling on the ground or something like that, that really irks my nerves. But the crazy thing is I love Gordon Ramsay and I love when he freaks out. So if someone says it's raw or you stop being a donkey or something like that, I love it because it's Ramsay. But like I can't do that in a regular setting.
But I'm not even gonna get into my Gordon Ramsay because I love Gordon Ramsay.
I love him. I really have a crush on him. No lie.
I love the fact that he's such an asshole to adults, but he's so sweet to the children.
Yes.
Like he's just like, it's okay, Annabelle. It's perfectly okay. It does not have to be perfect. It just has to be you. And she's like, okay, Mr. Ramsay.
As it should be. People need to be assholes to assholes.
Yeah, but he has the cutest family, so I understand why he's such an asshole to adults.
Yep. It's perfect.
And he just be like, are you a child? No. So shut the fuck up.
Love it.
I'm just saying. I'm fine with this. No, I also think the sound and chaos of a kitchen like that gives me so much anxiety, which is why I did not want to become a chef, because I was like, fuck no. What you're not about to do with all this chaos happening is yell at me in a stressful situation. That's what we're not about to do.
And honestly, when you're yelling like that in a kitchen, that just shows that you have no control. Because a kitchen, yes, you're supposed to talk and communicate, but it's not supposed to be that.
It's not militant.
No. Right. It's literally an organized situation. It should be.
There shouldn't be yelling in a decently run kitchen. There shouldn't be any yelling.
Yep.
Unless there's like music in the background, but that means the whole restaurant's loud as shit anyway. So, but so yeah, true. No, I understand that. So this is gonna tell the level of education in this country. So in my schooling, and I want to hear about y'all as well. In my time in school as a child and a young adult, I do not ever remember learning about Emmett Till.
Oh, really?
I do not remember at all any of that.
Yeah. I remembered learning about it because remember I told you guys at one point in high school, like my senior year of high school, I had chosen to take an African American literature class, and my teacher at the time was a white man who taught that class. And he basically taught us what happened with Emmett Till. And because of why he taught it is because we were reading a book. What's the name of it? Something Black Boy. And it was basically about a Black boy back in like the between the 1910s and the 1920s, where he had like a crush on his whoever he was working for. He had a crush on the daughter of whoever they were working for because the daughter was always nice to him. But for some reason, it ended up being fatal, and he was basically being hunted down for murdering her. So the book is told from his perspective. And in contrast to that, he brought up the whole Emmett Till situation and basically taught us about it. So we learned in that class about a lot of unfair and unjust treatment. So I think it just all depend on the school, because that was his concentration when he was getting his degrees to become a teacher.
But you don't remember that in any of your other general classes. That was a specific class that
No,
you
that
requested.
was a specific class that was requested by him to be put into the school because you're in a minority school. He's teaching in a school of minorities, and basically when he was studying to become a teacher, he was majoring as an English literature teacher, as English literature with a minor in African American studies. So that just shows you he requested for that class to be put in because he's just like, we are teaching in a predominantly colored area in Queens. Like, why you don't have classes like this?
Okay, so
Yes,
that's exactly
yes. So
okay,
it was
great.
only because of that.
So 2 out of 3 of us did not learn about this in their general studies as a child.
Absolutely not. You don't learn about any Black injustice besides the general diaspora of slavery, and that's about it. But you don't learn about the individual stuff that happened outside of slavery.
I learned about it at what age was I? I think I was either 24 or 25, going to the African American Museum in Washington.
Wow.
I learned about it at the live exhibit about him, and I broke down. So ever since then, anything that is African American, Black history, trauma related, or anything relating to kind of those kinds of things triggers me now. So like Lovecraft Country, the 2 scenes like that they explicit, like one is like kind of like in the cut and one is like explicitly about him. The 2 scenes about that I had to like breathe through. And the first one I didn't expect because it wasn't like a direct point to him. They just had a kid dressed like him and they were like, "Oh, Emmett, you're so funny." And I was just like, ho ho. Because it was around the time where he was leaving Chicago to go. So ever since then, I have to like go through breathing exercises to make it through certain things, which is why I still haven't watched Underground or any of the big historical things that are out there. Because now I'm scared. I don't even want to watch them. I'd rather watch a horror movie any day.
Oh, my bad, guys. The book is called Native Son, but the book Black Boys by the same guy. We learned a lot about Richard Wright, which is like a very pro-Black author. Yeah, so we read a couple of his books while in there, but the 2 major ones we focused on was that one was Native Son and the other one was Black Boy. But I remembered these things because first of all, that teacher was hot who taught that class.
Of course.
He was probably like in his early 30s at the time, I want to say. So yeah, it was hot. And first of all, a kid tried to square up on him one day and called him a cracker, and shit got real. Like he put that kid in a pin in like one of them like UFC holds, and that was like the hottest thing ever for all the girls in that class. And we're just like, and he held them down till security got there because he literally tried to throw hands on the teacher on the teacher, and
he said, "Not today."
He said, "Not today, bruh.
Not you today. Can try it if you want to."
Nope.
Nice. No, yeah. I would have the same reaction. I'd be like, "Hello,
I'm like, hello, Mr. T."
Hey.
Never forget that, man.
Seeing toxic behaviors, they're not triggering. They're just really irritating.
Yeah, no, yeah. Toxic behaviors are irritating. They're not triggering for me because I've never...
Like, to watch them is just like, all right, we're still doing this. Got it.
Yeah.
Understood.
And it's embarrassing to watch, too, depending on the situation.
I think a toxic behavior that does kind of trigger me in like this... Not really. I don't want to call it in like a PTSD type of situation, but it just doesn't. It like makes me want to punch things. Is people who are emotional manipulators.
Oh yeah.
Because I've seen people be emotionally manipulated so many times in my life, like it just boils my blood. Like thinking about it now, my blood is like boiling.
Tea kettle.
Yes.
Well, it's like it's about learning like especially as you grow older, you start to learn I should be learning the different sides of trauma. So,
Mm-hmm.
like the battered wife syndrome. All right, it's not just a woman who's just getting beat up. She's being emotionally and physically tormented
Right.
every day,
Right.
Yeah.
multiple times a day. It's not
Right.
one time that she got to look for and then checks that off her list. No, it is multiple times a day at any time that they feel like torturing this person.
Right. And then on top of
So,
that, she doesn't know what it's going to be the next time. It can be an
yes, she
emotional, it
doesn't.
can
Yeah.
be a punch. Like, she doesn't know.
And every time she probably makes an action, she's also being terrorized for her action. So
Oh,
she's
yeah.
now scared and scared to move and do anything that is her own thinking. So as you grow older, you should be learning and thinking about these things before you go into a situation with your judgments.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
So learning these things about the different types of people, the different types of things that people go through, and to see someone doing that to a person makes me want to hurt people. So I agree with you. I don't understand how anyone could just sit back and not see the signs.
I think another trigger for me is significant dates and songs. Lord Jesus. I think it's a blessing and a curse. Yeah, I think it's a blessing the fact that I have a great long-term memory to when like I was 3 years old. I can remember anything when I was that young. But it's also a curse because I have deja vu and can replay the entire association in my head from start to finish. And a lot of the times it can be very crippling, but I don't know. Dates are just very important to me, even though I didn't think they were. But you can tell me what happened on October 17th, 2013, and I could tell you what happened. If I see the person in my face or somebody brings up a certain name, I can remember some type of thought that happened back then. It's just something that happens in my brain that I just connect everything to something. And that could be a bad thing and it can be a good thing. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who experiences that.
I definitely experienced that with songs.
Yeah, but more with music, not really with like people or
I am starting
sayings.
to take dates a little bit more seriously now, and not just like the high school versions of us who are like, oh my god, like who gives a fuck. But now, like understanding like the significance of things that are happening in my life, I want to take them more seriously. But definitely, songs have been sometimes slap me right upside the head. I'm like, ooh, my heart,
Oh, yeah.
I can't.
Yep. You delete the whole playlist until you
Fuck.
can deal with it later.
Just skip. Or just hit a thumbs down. Do not play that shit again. What is wrong with you?
Yep.
Get angry at your phone.
Why did you do this to me?
What the hell's wrong with you? Who hurt you?
My God. You had one job.
Play the music I like, not the music that makes me want to hurt people. I think a trigger that's starting to finally subside a little bit is like everything from like 9/11. That's starting to like the instant triggers are starting to like become a little bit more minimal and manageable to where I'm not just like instantly triggered and then I have to go excuse myself for some shit. Like now I can just like breathe through it.
Yeah.
And keep it moving and deal with it at a later moment.
Understandable.
Still have to deal with it, guys. Just want to say that. But yeah, I think that's the one that I'm very glad is starting to become a little easier to deal with.
And it's different for you and Kashana because y'all were in New York when that happened. So I can only imagine that really affected y'all at some point, even if you weren't aware of it now or later in the past or whatever. So I can see that.
I think it's not even that we were there and that it's in the city that, I should say the area that we grew up in. Like my brother's best friend passed away because of it. And almost lost somebody else if it was not for him. So that's the part, just having to see people I love being hurt because of it.
Yeah.
and like not just seeing my brother, but I also knew his family, his daughter, his wife. So it's like seeing all of that and just seeing like what happens at the cost of others. Just infuriating.
Yep. And you had no control over it. Nobody did.
No one did. We all woke up that morning. I could see the Twin Towers from my school.
Yeah, me too.
Wow.
I saw the smoke from my school.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and having to go home those next couple of weeks and not see it or just see smoke.
That's real.
The experience of it was just a multitude of emotions, and I'm sure everyone has their own versions of it, but I'm just glad it's not as instant breakdown crying as it was.
Yeah. Oh, and while we're on that, can we just like acknowledge the fact that that whole Champlain Towers in Miami just collapsed like 2 weeks ago? That situation was terrible. And I feel for those families. And the evidence that is coming out about it is just, it's absurd, honestly, and careless and reckless.
Florida brags about their lax building regulations. And that's a rich person's building.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine being a poor person right now in Miami and Florida.
My coworker was looking up on it too, and she was like that they had like condos in there for sale for like $2 million, $1 million.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's 1 block from the beach.
Yep.
It's gorgeous. Those things were amazingly pretty.
Yep. Yeah, so if the rich people buildings were cut corners and not maintained properly, imagine what's happening over in the projects.
Yep.
That's why out here in New York, they're always fighting with the city.
Yeah.
That's literally why the city's always getting fought and all these class action lawsuits against them for their public housing buildings here in New York. Like, it's always something every day you're hearing about it, whether somebody hasn't had heat for like 3-4 weeks straight in the winter, or the water comes out the pipes freezing, or water doesn't come at all, or there's like no elevators that are working in a 14-story building. Like, it's crazy.
You see what happened in Texas in the wintertime and all those those pipes bursted. Shoot.
Another country that was a country. Well, they basically are. Another state that was proud about the bullshit that they actively do. They're so proud to have privatized non-utility power and other utilities. Well, now it's biting all those residents in the ass, and there's nothing they can do about it.
No.
So you gotta pay a $6,000 to $10,000 bill for something that's their fault because they wanted to cut corners and do bullshit and not do the right thing to help the longevity of their company.
I think the fuck not.
Then you had a piece of shit senator that blamed his daughter for why they left the state to go to Florida on vacation.
Like he didn't book it. Like he didn't pay for it.
This man said, well, my daughter wanted to go on a vacation and get away from it all.
To Cancun.
Right. So it's like, okay, then send your daughter and your wife and you stay here and take care of this.
Yep. Priorities, people.
No, he had his priorities exactly where he wanted them.
Exactly.
Right, but
the priorities of his job?
No. Yeah, that was nothing.
No, he did not do those right. He barely. I don't think he had a home to go back to. I feel like they did some wild shit to his house. I forgot what they did.
Yeah. They probably vandalized his property. I would not be shocked at all if they did.
Oh, I don't think he went back to his home. I think he had to go somewhere else. He couldn't have.
Cause people was waiting for that ass.
Yeah, if I gotta pay a $10,000 bill, I can't pay that. Not living in Texas. Shit in Texas is expensive. Getting to Texas is expensive.
Y'all know who to vote for in Texas when voting comes around, people.
And if you don't, you better figure it out soon. We got our governor race this in November, and I am making sure I'm taking off because the fuckers that are one of the fuckers on that race is not for me. Anyways, I only did a couple because I didn't want to have this conversation be too long because triggers.
Yeah, me either.
Just go put that out there. All right, so are we good, ladies?
Yeah.
We all good.
Sweet. All right. So our social media moment this week is this this couple. I don't know who they are, where they from. I have no clue who these people are. But the whole point of their little TikTok ish video was that they make beautiful kids even though they ugly. Sorry.
Don't say that. They're young kids.
Oh my God.
They're young. They're teenagers.
No,
Don't
not the
that.
kids are ugly. The parents. I'm so sorry. I'm not doing a good job of describing this, but also it's hard to describe without laughing. Okay. In the video, stop making noise.
Stop making noise.
The video says, when you ugly but make beautiful kids. So the parents show their face and they're dancing and they have their kids come out. They're just bad, aggressive, and a little weird with them when they come out. And all I have to say is, number one, I feel like it's been a fact that ugly people who choose to make children, they typically make pretty babies, at least in my experience of seeing them. But I'm not going to comment on this specific couple because I don't know them to talk shit about them.
Yeah, but I think their daughter is pretty. Like, I think she's very pretty.
No, I think their kids are not. They're normal looking. They're not ugly.
Yeah, I mean, they prove their own fact. I guess.
Yeah, they did prove their fact. It's just I'm not going to judge these people for what they want to do. Mm-mm. Anyways, but
as long as they feeding them children and they look like they're feeding them children very well, that's all that matters.
Right, they come from a good home.
They got a house. They got a backyard.
Yeah,
mom and dad are good. They're feeding those kids. Those kids did not look unhappy. Mm-hmm. But I hope they're not unhappy. But either way, I can't judge them on this show. I'll judge them behind the scenes.
That's all that matters to me. I don't care how ugly your mommy and daddy is, as long as they can provide for you. And I'm happy that these children are growing up in 2-parent households where they have both their mom and their dad there. That's all I like to see.
We're happy enough to take a video about them
and own it.
And own it. Yes.
That's it.
All of that.
I love to see it.
Can't ask for more.
I love the world. It's great times. But it did make me laugh. That was good. I needed that. All right, so let's get into our second topic because slightly triggering, but definitely a conversation that need to be had because some of the stereotypes we got, Black people, we got to do better. Black and brown people as a whole, we got to do better. Because some of y'all live in these stereotypes like they're life mantras. Instead of odds you don't have to fall into. Yeah. Like, it's just, some of them I'm okay with. Like, I love watermelon and chicken. Who doesn't love fried chicken? The hell?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a sin. We can't be friends if you don't like fried chicken or watermelon. I don't know how to speak to those people. We don't speak the same language, clearly. But I did look up some, so y'all can go. I can go. We can literally just popcorn this bitch.
You can start it off.
Cool. Well, I told these ladies I did a little research and I have some lovely, lovely facts. So one that I found interesting, I didn't know this had a name, but there's a stereotype called sapphire. Have y'all heard of this?
The hell? No.
Okay. All right. Got it. All right. So I'm not going to give you the full fun facts of it, but I'm just going to give you a general background of what it is. So it popularly portrayed Black women as sassy, emasculating, and domineering. Unlike the mammy figure, this trope was depicted as African American women as aggressive, loud, and angry in a directly violating of social norms.
Okay, so gotcha. Kelly, I'm pretty sure you've heard this. You've heard this conversation many times on YouTube. I'm pretty sure you have. So that also goes back into like the depiction of black people in the media back in like when TV started coming out, when film started coming out.
The 1900s.
So basically the best example I can give of the the sapphire is Tony from Girlfriends. The oh hell no, the I ain't doing that shit. That's the sapphire. Yes,
Gotcha.
and
I didn't know that was a term.
yeah, oh, it is 100%, and it's very fucked up. And the mammy would be Monique from the Parkers. Undesirable. She's not attractive. She's generally not attractive. She's overweight, and she cooks, she cleans, and she's a little loud, and she gives good advice. That's usually the mammy of the thing.
Gotcha.
Yes, and then there's another one where I think it's called the Scarlet or something like that. I don't know the exact name, but
harlot.
The harlot, yes, and that's the desirable, the thin, the black, the over sexualized. She's promiscuous. Like all she wants to do is just lay with men, and that's it. So those are the 3 stereotypes that were specific for Black women, and usually in the category, it's like the darker you are, you're the mammy. The lighter you are, you're the harlot, and if you're in between, you're sapphire. That's usually how it was on the color. It's fucked up. It's very colorist.
Yeah, I feel attacked.
It's very colorist.
Also, sapphire is my birthstone, so I extra feel attacked. But that's just personally saying that.
Oh my god!
But
yeah, I thought that was so interesting. I never heard of that specific term for that personality. That is a stereotype I've always heard about. Yeah, but yeah, that was from I think the African American Museum.
And then they also have for the male, they have the general Jim Crow character for the males, and that's just that.
I had heard of the term mammy when it came to Aunt Jemima back then.
Yes,
because she was seen as that type.
She was the mammy. Yeah,
she was. Yeah.
She was the mammy. Yeah,
the one who's always the maid. Yep. Who's darker skinned. Even though the woman who was Aunt Jemima, she was a very good actress back then, and she had gotten her first, I think, award, like Golden Globe award, that was back then. But they never acknowledged her for that. They always acknowledged her for the fact that she was on the box of some pancakes or some baking mix, and just the help. Well, that's true.
Yep.
Different World broke that down pretty well. The mammy thing. Not thing, but kind of the history of it. Yeah. If you haven't watched that, go watch it. It's great.
Yes. And the mammy will cape for the Black community very hard.
Very true.
Yup.
Put on her super suit and everything.
Super suit.
That's what I call it. Put on their super suit and go cape.
That reminds me of the Incredibles, though. My super suit.
I love the Incredibles.
It's like, honey, where is my super suit?
Super suit.
I love those movies.
She's like, it's in the wash.
Well, going on the whole colorist skin tone debacle and debate, I always thought of the whole darker skin tone for men. It's the more violent and the more higher of a criminal history you have, or how suspicious you are. So, like, for me personally, I feel like when it comes to my family, my dad is darker skin tone. One of my cousins is darker skin tone, but in the cousin that is related to the darker cousin, he has a lighter skin tone cousin. They don't look like, or brother, they don't look related at all. But the fact that you kind of have to be more concerned of my darker skin cousin is a problem, because the lighter one, you just know, will be quote unquote fine out at a certain time. And when it comes to my dad, me and my mom are just like, don't go out at night. Don't go out past 10 o'clock, because you don't know what's going to pop off. You don't know if you're going to get stopped by the cops. You don't know if something's just going to randomly happen. And it sucks that you have to think that way just because of the shade of your skin color. And that's for women too. We've always seen that in the media, unfortunately, and you may not come back. So it sucks. Everything has to deal with whatever shade of pale, shade of brown, whatever you are, but you have to be cautious about it and respect the fact that that could happen.
Well, I think also the kind of perception, especially like when you're a kid or a teen, the expectation that you're athletic and that you're not intelligent.
Yeah.
And they don't, especially in our community, they don't help with the different styles of learning.
Very true.
Because not everyone learns the same.
Mm-hmm.
It took me till college to figure out how the best way I learn. And that's because in our community, they don't help you figure out there's different types of way of learning. They're like, oh, you're doing bad in school. Why? I don't know. Now we're all at a loss because I don't know what you want me to say. I have no idea.
It's like I'm there every day. What else?
I'm there every day. I'm trying to do the work. I'm trying to get things done. But the only alternative is your parents ground you. But grounding you doesn't help because you're just still sitting there trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no win-win.
No. So if you're not an athlete, then you're also not expected to be smart. You're just kind of expected to be lazy. And yeah. So that's something that pisses me off. That's a stereotype of Black people. Just there's range. We all have range. Each race can do whatever the fuck they want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with some respect, obviously, but we all have range. We could all be Obamas. We could all be whoever the fuck we want to be.
Yeah. Just gotta work at it constantly and harder because
but we're not
Black.
all the same.
I think for me, one stereotype that I always see on TV that always like kind of like gets under my skin a little bit is the Black best friend.
Yeah.
Why is there every time there's a white girl in a movie, or I'm gonna focus on the white girl in the movie. Every time there's a white girl in the movie and she's making terrible decisions, she always has the Black best friend there to cape for her and tell her you're losing your values, you're losing your morals, maybe this isn't right, or give the sassy Sapphire character in there. And you see it so much on I swear to God, every single Netflix show that's about teenagers, 25-year-olds playing teenagers, there's always somebody's Black best friend. And there's always, when it comes to the white male characters, there's always an idiotic Black male behind him cheering him on. And I swear to God, this thing, it annoys me. I'm just like, so you telling me out of all the people that came to that casting, you couldn't cast an Asian girl as her best friend or another white girl as her best friend? It had to be a Black girl in every single role.
I can tell you why. We can knock this out right now. Number one, as all three of us have been the Black best friend more than once. Yes, number two, and I can speak only for the woman's perspective. I'm going to get to the man. From being the Black best friend, typically we are raised better. We are raised with common sense. We are raised with critical thinking. We are raised with environmental awareness because we always have to watch our back. So sorry, but in my opinion, being the Black best friend, that's usually why, because we actually will tell you that's stupid, don't do that, and actually mean it. We're not only the ones that are raised that are more privileged, that don't have to do half of those things that we learn. They'll egg you on because they'll be just as dumb as you are.
Yeah, we're people's conscience in certain situations
because they weren't raised right. But that's just my opinion. And then the Black boy, he's usually the athlete, so he's not expected to be smart.
Nope. Yep. And he usually isn't.
And so they portray that character as the athletic, smart Black boy, who's usually tall and either caramel or light skin. Now that he's becoming more dark skin.
Yes. Or interracial.
Yep.
Yeah. No. They're all just based off of stupid ass stereotypes that no one else has had the cojones to be try again.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that just reminded me. It's like Chad in High School Musical. Corbin Blue.
Oh my God, yes. Poor Corbin. He didn't deserve that.
He really didn't.
Corbin didn't deserve that, and Monique didn't deserve that.
No, she didn't.
They didn't deserve it.
Oh my God.
And it's so sad that how years later, Monique had to speak out. Well, what was her name? Because her name in High School Musical was Monique, right?
Yeah. No, that's her name.
That's her name for real, right?
I thought her name
Coleman. No, her real name is Monique Coleman.
Oh, okay. All right. Then I guess then I've been calling her Monique all these years. So that's good. So I don't remember if you guys remember when she spoke out and she was like that, how the reason why her character always had headbands headbands on was because they could never get a person to style her hair properly. So she was like that, how she's been natural all her life. So her hair was always braided down under the wigs that she would wear. And the people that were doing her wigs were people who didn't look like her and knew nothing about natural hair or wigs. And she said that she had to finesse all the wigs that they put on her. So the only way she could do that was by putting headbands on, because she was not letting herself be seen on screen with a lace that
Looking
looked
busted.
nothing like her other actual skin
Oh
tone.
my god.
So she was like, that's why she always had wigs, like headbands on. And she was like, and even like in the water scenes, like when they did High School Musical, when they had their
3.
whatever movie that was, yeah, she was at the pool with a wig and a headband on. And she was like, because for all these years she had to finesse her own hair.
Yes.
Yep. And I'm just like, what is the issue with that? Like,
they don't want to hire people who have that type of range. It's not that serious for them. They don't give a fuck.
It takes too much work anyway.
Or just ask the actress if she can. I don't.
It's
no,
honestly, they could partner with brands that specialize in African American hair. Have an expert teach on how to use those products and get a certification, and that could be an extra requirement for whoever's on their hairstyling. They could work with like 5 different fucking brands, 1,000, but you could pick 5 and have a partnership, and you be like, you need to get a certification from one of these brands that you know how to work with these hair.
Yep.
Yeah.
But what do I know? I don't own a business.
But that's not a thought process. That's not even a bullet on the page. Like that's not even anyone's thought, because the problem is, like we said in the episode before, there's not Black and brown people sitting at those tables for writers, directors, and producers and casting directors. None of that.
We need them everywhere. We need them in the unions, because the unions are the ones that are making these decisions.
Not only that, but the problem is, if you do find them, they don't have the same prerogative as people like us who are talking about it. You understand? Like, they're not thinking about those things, because they're just thinking about getting their bag. So they're just going to be like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. If there is a Black or brown person sitting at those chairs.
Well, I think it's people who decided a long time ago, me progressing in this role means X, Y, and Z, but it doesn't mean that I have to put my neck out on the line every single time, which to a point I do agree with. But there should be always a goal of you sitting, what you sitting in that seat means to you, and what you're not going to let get in the way of that.
Right. Because it also makes you look bad when people find out that you sat in that seat. It's just like, so you gave no opinions. You just sat there and said yes to everything.
Yeah, they put that in the not worth it column when it should have been in the worth it column. There's certain things that are worth it, y'all. They can't fire you over certain shit. They could try. They will. But they can't fire you over certain shit. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and bring this up now, because I feel like we all can go on the soapbox about this, so I'm just going to throw it out. The CP time.
Oh, Lord.
The CP time has to stop, y'all. It has to. This is fucking ridiculous. It's the most selfish thing that is a real life stereotype that needs to go away, because it's so selfish. You want to talk about, oh, I'm pro Black people, but yet you show up to shit an hour or 2 late. That's not pro Black people, because Black people have schedules. People have time. They have families. They have shit to do. It'd be the most woke people be late as shit to shit. You got to plan buffer time around your events. No. You show up when the event starts. You not here, you out. You SOL.
I think it's just ignorant how people can think that, oh, because I'm Black, it's understandable. No, honey. I need you to be here on time.
That shouldn't even be a sentence.
No, it shouldn't. Because I'm going to leave if you don't show up within the next 30 minutes after something has started, after the time that I was given. I'm going to be there 30 minutes early or more, and I'm going to be there waiting for your ass. And if you're not there, I'm out.
Especially if you're the person that's supposed to be hosting the event, or the person that you're supposed to be, the event is like centered around. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I can understand. I could give a little bit more leeway to it if you're a guest. Because you're a guest. Like, no one gives a fuck what time you shows up.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Guest. Like, we started with or without you as a guest.
Right. As long as you but you can't be the person that the event is centered around or the host of the event and
And you're
you're
gonna be 2-3 hours late to
like
your event. Dog, I'm ready to go.
and your guests are just sitting there and the wait staff is just like, so we started or not?
Time is money, dude.
No, time is money. Like,
come
and
on.
you know what's the worst part about it? And I've had this experience before being a guest to something and the host showed up late, like the person that the event was centered around showed up late. Then you want where whoever is catering your event to add an extra hour or two onto the ending.
No.
It's just like, no, bro.
At no extra charge.
Why should they? And this was sadly at someone's baby shower. It was at someone's baby shower that they were doing at a hall. And I guess they were setting up another event next door in the chances of this one ending on time. So if you have an invitation that says your baby shower is from 3 to 8,
there's no chance. There's no.
You don't show up at 5 o'clock. You don't show up at 5 o'clock and then ask them if you can add an extra hour. If you can add because you still have gift to unwrap and all that stuff like that. And I'm just like, why are you asking that? You can't ask that. Like, what's happening? There's another event that they're setting up next door. It's going to clash with the one that's there next door.
Yeah.
If your event starts after 6 p.m., all right, yeah, there's a chance there's no other event happening after you, and you will be paying for any extra time. But if your event started long before or any time before fucking 6 p.m., there's a chance I have an event after you, and you got to bounce up out of here. Yeah. And also, my staff is only getting paid for so many amount of hours. So if you don't pay me the extra cost, I can't pay my staff. And now I'm only breaking even on this, which is not good from my bosses, which now it means I have to be a dick to you.
Yep.
And staff will leave. Okay.
I don't understand why people have that why they feel like they're entitled to something just because you paid for it. I'm just like, no, you paid for a time slot.
You know why it is? I was thinking about this because obviously I'm very hot about this. It's because we were never taught proper etiquette.
Nope.
In any life circumstance. We were taught to listen to your mom and dad, or you get the belt, or you get the whip, or whatever shit they beating you with. Mm-hmm. That's all we were taught. We were not taught to respect other people's time. We were not taught proper etiquette in social and economical situations. Mm-hmm. We were not taught proper planning as far as how to plan out anything. So that's why our parties run late. That's why all of our shit goes late, because we were not taught how to manage our time. We weren't taught how to manage anything. We were taught how to survive. And that's the only reason I give leniency to certain people. But anyone who knows how to spend money needs to know how to learn etiquette, which means you should be respecting my time just like you expect others to respect your time. Because those be the one also be like, you're wasting my time. I had all this going on. Okay, bitch, well, so do I.
Yeah.
My staff has lives that they need to go back to. Their job is not their life.
Hey.
Okay.
I'm so glad you brought up etiquette.
Yeah. I think that's something that's not really taught that much or
at all.
Or see that's something that's important to teach your kids. But
no.
Speaking about stuff like that, this is my last one, especially being a Black woman and, always having that, even if you speak out or something like that, you're going to be looked at as the angry Black woman. Or loud for speaking your opinion, or a bitch for speaking your mind or your opinion.
Or just a sapphire.
Yes, that's something that really annoys me, for the fact that, or being seen as masculine if you have something to say. Mm-hmm. Me personally, I feel like over the years I have realized what my masculine features are, not features, but personality traits are. And I'm very proud of them because I'm assertive, and that's a masculine trait.
Mm-hmm. Which is bullshit.
I will tell it is technically a masculine trait to be assertive, but you can use that in conjunction with being feminine. You don't have to be assertive and yell at people or assertive and demand people. You can be assertive in a very nice way. And that's something that people need to stop linking Black women to, is only being assertive and masculine, because we're not all loud and we're not all ratchet and we're not all ghetto. We know how to be.
Well, the difference is when a white guy does it, it's assertive. When a woman or a Black woman does it, it's aggressive.
Yeah.
No, especially when a Black woman does it. When a white woman does it, it's her, standing up for herself, lives. And then when a black woman does it, we're angry.
Mm-hmm.
What is she so mad
We're about
about?
to end lives. That's what it's like.
Why is she so angry?
Like we're about to snap like Thanos. Like that's what they see it as.
Imagine that happens one day and it works.
Right, but that's fine. That's fine. You can look at me as being Thanos. I could be the end all be all of like human life.
Totally
That's
fine
fine.
with this.
Perfectly fine. If I could just make that one snap and everything goes away, perfect.
Wonderful.
Great.
Glorious.
Knock all half you weak ass bastards off the face of the planet. That's fine. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of cathartic, like Thanos. I like hearing his spiel and his ideas. I kind of understood where he was coming from because I feel like that sometimes. Just to get a little off topic, but there's
Are you seeing all these people popping up with babies?
Yes, there's some catharticism within me and me and the way I feel about Thanos. So it's okay.
Too many babies.
Wait, too many babies.
I love them. The ones that I know are just sweetness. But there's way too many people on this fucking planet.
Yeah, but I'm tired of people looking at black women like we're not feminine. That's the one thing that's a stereotype that I need to stop, that I need people to stop doing and seeing. We are not all Cardi B's and Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallions of the world. We're not. You
don't want to be.
Leave us alone. I don't want to be a city girl.
Ugh.
I don't want to be a Summer Walker. Like, leave me alone. These are not the people I aspire to be like. I want to be like a Viola Davis. Oh, she's so classy and beautiful. Like that. I want to be a Tika Sumter. Like, leave me alone.
Tracy Ellis Ross.
Right. Those are the women that I aspire to be like. And those women that I named are dark-skinned women who look like me.
Very true.
So, leave me alone. Let me rest in my feminine nature. Leave me alone. And I will still continue to be assertive.
That's just like a pill you gotta swallow. Be like, you know what? They're gonna see me as this anyways. So, fuck them. I'm gonna be like that as I want. I choose what I want to be. And you got a problem with it, you can suck my dick.
Yeah, that's why for me, I don't follow women who don't look like me. I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. On my Instagram, if you go through my friends list, besides personal friends, if it's celebrities, they look like me. So
I follow everybody.
That's just how my brain works at this point.
Yeah.
I just don't follow people who conform to falling into their stereotypes or whatever they fall into. But I follow everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna follow a basic bitch, she's not gonna be a basic bitch. She just looks like one in like certain things. Because I love a pumpkin spice latte like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
So
I love me a chai latte when I really crave one. Like,
okay, being basic is not too bad because all your stuff you love is always around.
I love me a matcha oat latte. I love it.
So just because she's basic does not mean she doesn't have an opinion. Doesn't mean she won't tell you her opinion, and make sure that you know what it is before you leave. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Pretty much.
So I think my last one is the assumption that black and brown people take up all of the welfare money.
Y'all need to stop.
Always deeply bothered me.
Y'all need to stop.
Deeply.
Out of people don't seem to realize out of like heavy populated tri-state areas that's not the case.
No, in the country, Kishana, that's not the case anywhere. Like, yes, in certain states we are a little higher, but in general across this country, we don't take up most of it at all. I have the numbers right here.
That's why I said outside these tri-state heavy populated areas, I don't think people like that.
Oh no, they do not.
So you're telling me 14% of the population takes up 80% of the welfare?
So I can tell you the facts because I have them right now.
Spit it.
So we have. I'm gonna give you all the numbers. I'm gonna give it to you from highest to the third place, and we can go ahead and go about our business. Okay. So in this country, an estimate from the census in 2019. 81 million white people who are not white or Latino took up welfare. Next in line were Hispanics or Latino of any race with 16 million. Black people, Black or African American, were 15 million. So you're telling me our 15 million takes up comparison to the 81 million in this country. That's the same. That's equal to you or greater than. I know I wasn't always the greatest math student, but
yeah, the math ain't mathin'.
81 compared to 15. Shit, we can even combine the black and browns together. That's 31. So
That's
81
still
compared to
nothing.
31 is still not all
A
of
lot.
it. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I know how to do some good basic math. That's not the same. Okay. So for
Don't
those
tell
who
people
still
that.
think that we take up all the welfare, I'm gonna tell you right now, we do not, because we just normal math. We don't take up most of this country, so that's literally impossible. Especially when Black women are taking up half of the school scholarships that are out there right now, next to the other half, which is white men.
Right.
So that's just physically not possible for us to take up all the welfare, because that means the country's welfare would be very low.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna need people to stop thinking that all Black single mothers are on welfare, because they're not. A lot of
They're
these
not.
single moms are working like 2 jobs, trying to
Yeah.
go to school, get a certificate or get a degree while raising their children, and not on welfare.
Yeah.
Half of welfare is actually Medicare benefits. Only about, I think it said 4 to 5% of that is unemployment.
That should tell you a lot. If it's Medicare benefits, that means it's people who are disabled, whether it's physically or mentally, that takes up Medicare, because majority of people in the population with mental disabilities have government Medicare or Medicaid. So it's just like, what do you people want?
So that's a stereotype that I need to die, because that's a crock of shit, because that just feeds into the sentiment that Black people are lazy and don't want to get off their ass. They want to use all our benefits. No. Not the case, actually. But thank you for playing this game that you just very much lost, because you don't know your facts.
Right.
No, because every race has lazy people. Every race has bad people. Every race has people who are overachievers and leaders and all these different things. So, thinking that Black people are the only ones that are lazy out here in these streets, everybody lazy. I was lazy yesterday. Oh, okay. Just putting that out there. That's my last one. Kelly, you have any more?
Just to put it all together, I think it just boils down to perception and assumption. And we can thank the media and advertising and marketing and entertainment and communication sectors.
And the government.
Yeah, they're really responsible for creating and circulating all of these type of images and ignorant views towards us and how our community is perceived. And we need to think for ourselves, act on our own pace, and have a voice for your own opinion. Don't be listening to the quote fake news that is being spewed out every single time you get on any type of media. It's just dumb and it's not helping anything.
Then on top of that, we have resources like Google to
Mm-hmm.
figure out facts and information. And if you're not a Google lover, there's Bing, there's Yahoo, there's a bunch of other platforms you can go get research off of. Right. Like there's government website where you can actually find, like Melissa just found, census statistics. You can find these things. There's government websites where all these stuff are for public knowledge. It's not that hard.
No.
Just takes a little bit of effort. And if you don't have time for the effort, then don't read stupid fake news articles.
And don't talk about it.
Go to the real websites that actually require their writers to have sources and bibliographies. You know, people who actually use the brain cells to write articles. Okay? Even Wikipedia is not as bad as it used to be. Just for
I think now you have to actually like have an account and probably like pay just to edit Wikipedia. Isn't that what it is now? Like there's a whole vetting process in order for you to like edit articles on Wikipedia, because before, remember, you could just go back and edit whatever you want.
Yeah, sometimes Wikipedia be faster than Google, so options are, there's a multitude of options out there in the streets. But or just, you know, go into a normal neighborhood, not just a rich neighborhood, and interact with people who don't look like you.
Yeah.
Usually helps. And it doesn't have to be anything awkward like, hey, my brother. Like, no. Be like, yo, can you pass me the salt? It could just be anything, and just observing and listening to people in your environment who don't look like you.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not gonna die.
It's okay. Now, I'm not saying go to the hood and go to their local wing spot, because you might actually die. Don't do that.
They may just look at you a little funny.
Yeah, go to like a middle class area that doesn't give a fuck if you walk in their place, because at least there'll be one other person that looks like you. So think smart before you do these things. But still, that's kind of a way to interact with people, humans.
Yeah,
because we're all fucking humans, despite what some people want to think. Yeah. Soapbox. All right, ladies. Well, we are almost done with this episode. I think this was beautiful. So concise. Look at us being podcasters. So last up is our weekly recommendations. So for those of you just tuning in, this is anything from music, movies, TV shows, products we like, anything that we think will help improve your day. And of course, each of us have our own. So who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Go ahead, boo.
Okay. So this is kind of like a PSA and advice for single women and just women in general. So, for any ladies, single ladies that are living alone, so like me, you, everybody, we need to be more consistent with being inconsistent. And that can be in terms of where we run our errands, which routes we take on the daily basis, when we go to these places, and how long we stay out. And a lot of women and girls have been raised differently when it comes to their exposure to real outside world confrontation and everything. And in particular, I'm talking about like street smarts and your awareness of what's around you. And you not being cautiously aware and mindful of how you go about your regular routine. You're just setting yourself up to be the perfect target for trafficking and abduction and stalking, or even worse. And predators just love women who are oblivious and careless and carefree and unfazed about stuff. So we need to start paying attention more to your own surroundings and stop being on your phone when you go to your car after you leave a building. Stop being,
especially at night.
Yeah. You have to be aware of everything. And that's not being like what you call it, paranoid at all. That's just being cautious and being safe about yourself. And these people are out here. They're snatching people left and right. They just caught somebody on camera, a mom who was walking with her 4 children, and one kid got like 5 steps ahead of her, and someone literally got out of their car and snatched the kid right in her face. And her and her siblings, or her and her kids, were trying to get the kid from out the back seat of the kidnapper's car. Luckily, they got him, but like, it's that kind of stuff. It's so easy. They don't care if it's daylight. They don't care if it's at night. These people are out here and they will look for you.
Well, they haven't had much of good pickings because everybody's been in the house.
Yeah. Right. So they're on overtime now.
Yeah, they're in get them back mode now.
Revenge mode. Yep. So that's my recommendation. Stop being lazy and stop being.
People are acting like kids.
Stupid.
Yep. Worse than kids, actually. Because kids don't know no better. Adults do.
Right.
Or should.
In the words of, I'm going to call him Tony, hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your husband, because they raping everybody out here.
Yeah.
But that's so true, Kelly. I agree with you 100%. Even though I don't live alone, I'm still vigilant when I am alone. Like, when I come out to pump gas, like, I lock all my doors except for my door. I only unlock my car door versus the whole entire car.
Fuck yeah, I'm not, nope,
and
never.
I unlock my car when I'm, like, within running distance of my car.
Yeah, like 2 steps.
I don't unlock my car when I'm, like, feet away from it.
Yeah. And so this may be very scary to hear,
but it's the truth.
Yeah, and I just heard that there's now a thing where there are men underneath people's cars, just laying under there. Yes, just laying underneath the bed of your car and ready to slice your ankles with a knife.
That man gonna be mad because I got auto start in my car and it's the summertime. I always auto start my bitch. He gonna be hot.
Hold up.
No, I'm serious. That was just
No.
on TV the other day.
My boyfriend was telling me that specifically in like areas kind of like mine, like the meth heads are like going out and like doing like kind of not drive-bys, but like they're trying to hijack your vehicle to, do bad things. So be safe out here, y'all.
Yeah, be vigilant. Like,
people are being wild.
Yeah, like we've already said this. We're the type of people to have headphones on and not be listening to music to give the illusion that we're listening.
Or have this the ambience like as low as possible so I can hear my surroundings.
Yeah.
Because
the noise canceling feature on my headphone is never on.
Yeah, no. I don't want no noise. I need to hear things.
No.
People are wild.
Like, be sure you have, like, I'm a person also, I carry pepper spray on my keyring, and I also have, this is going to sound kind of crazy, but I kind of have like, there's like, I have like a 2-finger keychain loop there on my keys, but they're not like brass knuckles because those are illegal. You can get fucking fined for having brass knuckles, but they're enough to cause some pain or an infliction on somebody if they even try to snatch me.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
And don't think because you big, nobody's gonna snatch you. Someone will try to snatch you.
That's just mean they have an extra person there.
Because at this point, people out here paying for bodies that we have. So somebody gonna snatch somebody.
My body is not. She will shut down before you could snatch me, but she will probably stop all the functions that you could want. She'll start shutting that down minute by minute. My body's mean. She don't play that shit. Stay safe, y'all, please. Yep. Well, I wanted to give some recommendations for what I call the professional woman going to and from work, because you need to kind of get yourself amped up going to work and like be hyped about your day, but then at the end of the day you pissed off because of all the trifling shit that happens in your day. So you need a little bit of ratchet or gangsta in your life to help keep you calm after a long day. So for lately, for me, that's been hella East Coast shit, and I'm perfectly fine with this. And of course, my recommendations are J. Cole, Always and Forever, along with Dreamville, because that shit is like perfectly ratchet, and East Coast is great. Lloyd Banks has popped back up, as well as Jadakiss. Some of DMX's old and new stuff. Benny the Butcher and Conway the Machine. Yeah. All these men have been making my drives to and from work wonderful.
Just listen to the whole Griselda gang. Like, the whole Griselda is just fucking flawless.
Like LOX is popping up now.
You got West Side Gun.
Like, I'm good. Dave East. I'm out here.
To add into what Melissa just said, there's this kid named his name is literally IDK. His shit is hard. He goes hard, and I love it. He kind of has like a Kanye flow to his voice. He does sound like Kanye when you first start listening at first, but his music is phenomenal. My boyfriend put me on earlier last week, and I'm obsessed. I can't stop listening to him. He's very good, and he has a lot of stuff with dudes from Griselda as well, which kind of makes it a little nostalgic for me because I love the Griselda gang. So yeah, I'm about that East Coast life. So.
I'm just saying, I love my West Coast, but lately East Coast has been hitting.
Yeah,
always.
My recommendation is something really simple. It's a Netflix recommendation. So, at this point, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned on here that I love animes, that I'm a big anime head, big anime nerd, and over the last week or so, me and my boyfriend have been binging this anime on Netflix called 7 Deadly Sins. So if anybody's, and they have literally 5 seasons on Netflix, so that tells you that the anime is popping, because most animes that are being transcribed from mangas, they usually don't go that far. They usually have like 1, maybe 2 seasons, but 7 Deadly Sins has been but 7 Deadly Sins has been popping. We're now in season 3, and watch it if you're an anime lover. And that's mine.
Look at that.
Pow pow. All right, ladies, anything else we need to give to the crew?
No, just a little adios.
So we're going to take a short little break because of life. Your girl is moving. Sorry, y'all. So we're going to give y'all a midsummer break for us, and we will see you soon. It'll be a short break, I promise. Well, that is all we have for today. Thank you so much for listening to High Tea with Mel, Kel, and Kay. Don't forget, go ahead and leave us a review. You could even throw about 5 stars on there. Thank you, on iTunes. And you can follow us on Instagram at hight_podcast and on Twitter at hightpod1. And of course, if you want to get any advice from us or telling us about all your juicy tea, you can email us at hightmkk@gmail.com. And take a look in the description for everything high tea, and we'll see you soon.